My husband had a private suite. I wasn't allowed inside. In this mansion, I was the only one being lied to.
If you think modest girls don't attract dangerous men, you've never met Farida. Because the quiet ones, the covered ones, the ones who don't chase attention, they are the ones predators love to conquer. And this story is not about a girl who married rich. It's about a girl who almost lost herself in gold. Farida was the kind of woman people stared at but could never touch. Fair skin that glowed softly under sunlight. A naturally curvy figure she never flaunted. Long flowing abayas, hijab always neat, eyes calm but observant. She wasn't loud, she didn't compete, she didn't beg to be chosen. But life did not treat her gently. She came from a middle-class family that survived on appearance. Outside, respectable. Inside, financial confusion and emotional immaturity. Her parents meant well, but they were easily impressed. Too easily impressed. The kind of people who saw wealth and forgot wisdom. When university admission came, there was celebration until school fees entered the conversation. Silence, excuses, delays, promises that never matured. Farida learned something early. If she didn't rescue herself, nobody would. Registration day was chaotic. Sweat, noise, endless queues. That was where destiny stood behind her. "Excuse me, do you have an extra pen?" That was Mera. Soft voice, expensive wristwatch, confidence that didn't shout. They talked, they laughed, they stood in that registration line for hours. By the end of the day, something invisible had formed. Not just friendship, alignment. Mera came from money, real money, but she never carried it like a weapon. When Farida almost deferred her admission because of unpaid fees, Mera didn't hesitate. She paid it, quietly. No announcement, no superiority, no reminders, just belief. "Someday," Mera said, "you will build something bigger than this school." And that day, something ignited inside Farida, because for the first time, someone saw her future before she did. And that's how two girls, one with wealth and one with hunger, started a journey.
You laugh a lot around my husband. Ma'am? You touch his arm, you lean very close. Oh no, Ma, that's just how I am. I'm friendly with everyone. Let me give you advice. When a married woman is quiet, it's not because she doesn't know. I don't understand what you're saying. You don't have to. Just know this. Some women fight for their husbands, some women prepare funerals for disrespect. Are you threatening me? No, I'm warning you. Shh, it's okay. I'm right here. I just feel so lost.
Farida and Mera met during registration in their first year. Two girls in a chaotic line, one frustrated, one composed. Mera, from wealth, from power, from a family that owned half the city skyline, yet she chose Farida and never left her side. Mera paid what Farida couldn't, protected her dignity, shared her world without making her feel small. By graduation, they were inseparable. They didn't just dream, they built. They co-founded an interior design company that grew faster than gossip. Elegant spaces, luxury clients, high standards. Then came the contract. Millions of dollars. A mansion project for one of the richest families in the country. And they won. That was how they met Hassan. Hassan, son of a multi-millionaire, polished smile, calculated eyes. He was in charge of the project. And from the first meeting, he watched Farida too closely. He asked her out. She declined. "I don't mix business with pleasure." He smiled and tried again. He asked Mera to help convince her. Mera refused. She respected her friend. Hassan never arrived empty-handed. It was never just a visit. It was an entrance. A black SUV sliding into the driveway like a statement. Engine purring. Confidence rehearsed. And in his hand, a box. Always a box. The first time, it was subtle. A velvet case placed gently on the glass coffee table in her parents' living room. Her mother gasped before it was even opened. Inside, a diamond bracelet. Not small, not humble, not accidental. Hassan smiled. For someone as rare as her. He didn't look at the bracelet, he looked at Farida. She looked at the box, then at him, then back at the box. "I can't accept this," she said softly. The room went quiet. Her father cleared his throat. It's just a gift. Hassan laughed lightly. Polished, controlled. It would offend me if she refused. That was the first red flag. Gifts should never feel like pressure. The second time, it was bigger. A designer handbag imported from Europe. The kind her mother had only seen on celebrities. Her mother touched the leather like it was sacred. "Do you know how much this costs?" she whispered. Farida didn't touch it. "I don't need it." Hassan tilted his head. "You deserve luxury." Her reply was calm. "I deserve sincerity." His smile flickered, just slightly. The third time, he didn't bring jewelry. He brought a car. Parked it outside like a trophy. Red bow across the hood. Her neighbors came out, phones recording. Her parents beamed. Hassan held out the keys. "I want you to feel protected." She looked at the car, then at the crowd, then at him. Protection doesn't come with cameras, she thought. Aloud, she said, "I prefer to earn what I drive." The crowd murmured. Her father's jaw tightened. Hassan stepped closer, lowered his voice so only she could hear. "You are making this difficult." There it was. Not love, control. He kept escalating. Perfume that cost more than her semester tuition, gold bangles, designer abayas, a watch that matched his. Each time, she declined. Not dramatically, not disrespectfully, just firmly. "I'm not for sale." He would laugh, but his eyes would darken, because Hassan was a man used to transactions. In his world, everything had a price, and she was the first thing that didn't. One evening, after she refused yet another gift, he leaned closer. "You think I'm trying to buy you?" She met his gaze calmly. "I think you are trying to owe me." He didn't like that she understood the game. He preferred innocence. He preferred gratitude. He preferred women who mistook money for devotion. Farida mistook nothing. But every refusal came with consequences. So he investigated. He found her weakness, her parents. He arrived at their house with expensive gifts, money, jewelry, promises. He spoke of religion, of honor, of protection. Her parents were dazzled. They promised him their daughter before asking her. More pressure at home, more praise for Hassan, more lectures about opportunity. Because while she rejected the gifts, her parents didn't, and Hassan knew exactly where to invest. He never stopped bringing boxes, and she never stopped saying no. Until one day, the gifts weren't optional anymore. They were leverage. But Hassan wasn't a man used to rejection. Daily lectures, emotional blackmail. "Do you know what this means for us? He's a good Muslim man. You are ungrateful." Hassan kept showering them with money. Eventually, exhausted, cornered, Farida said yes. Crystal chandeliers, imported flowers, gold cutlery, camera flashes, whispers of "she has married well." Hassan's family embraced her publicly like a rare jewel. His mother kissed her forehead. His father called her "our daughter." The guests admired her modest gown, her calm smile, her lowered gaze. For 3 months, she believed she was safe. 3 months of curated perfection, luxury cars waiting at the porch, breakfast trays prepared by staff, public affection that made other women sigh. But perfection, when observed closely, always trembles at the edges. It started small. A corridor she rarely used, a wing of the mansion that felt colder than the rest. And then she noticed it, the suite. Not a guest room, not an office, not a lounge, a private suite, locked, restricted, untouchable. The door was darker than the others, polished, silent, always closed. The first time she asked casually, Hassan's jaw tightened just slightly. "No one goes near there." He smiled after saying it, but the smile didn't reach his eyes, especially when his friend visited. Eric. Eric came often, too often. They would greet normally downstairs, exchange jokes, eat dinner, then disappear. Into the suite. For hours. Sometimes laughter echoed, too loud, too forced. Sometimes silence. Thick silence. Farida told herself she was overthinking. Maybe it was business, maybe investments, maybe a men's private gaming lounge. She didn't want to be that wife, the suspicious one, the insecure one. But intuition is a quiet knock that doesn't stop. Then came the day that changed everything. She returned home earlier than planned. No calls, no warning. The mansion gates opened, she stepped inside, and immediately, the air shifted. The domestic waters froze when they saw her. One dropped a tray, another avoided eye contact. Footsteps hurried upstairs. She heard the main door open again. Hassan's voice, Eric's voice. They had arrived. But no one expected her to be home. The staff moved quickly, too quickly. Hassan and Eric walked past the foyer, didn't check for her, didn't call her name. They went straight upstairs, straight to the suite. Farida stood still. Her heart began to pound, not fast, but heavy, like a drum warning of war. She moved slowly toward the staircase. Each step felt louder than it should. When she reached the hallway, the door to the suite was already closed, locked from inside. She told herself to turn back, to go to her room, to ignore the tightness in her chest. She walked past it, and then she heard it. A sound, low, strained, breathing, but not normal breathing, not conversation, not laughter, something intimate, something she had only heard in private moments meant for husband and wife. She froze. No, maybe I'm imagining it. She shook her head and continued walking. Then it came again, clearer, closer. Her body moved before her mind could stop it. She stepped back toward the door. Her hands were cold. The handle turned easily, unlocked. They were careless. She opened it gently, just a little, and the world as she knew it ended. Inside the dimly lit suite, underneath a thick duvet, Hassan and Eric, entangled, intimate, lost in each other in a way that was not friendship, not business, not brotherhood. It was deliberate, it was practiced, it was familiar. They were so consumed they didn't notice the door, didn't notice her, didn't notice her. Farida covered her mouth instinctively. Tears didn't fall immediately. Shock came first, then the slow fracture. Her husband, the man who pursued her relentlessly, who claimed devotion, who quoted religion to win her parents, living two lives. She stepped back, closed the door gently. No slam, no scream, just silence. She walked back to her bedroom slowly, each step heavier than the last. Once inside, she locked her own door. Her knees gave way. She sat on the floor and whispered to herself, "So, he is not straight. My husband lives two lives. He does both." The realization settled like poison. The gifts, the secrecy, the control. It wasn't love, it was image. And she was part of the image. Her world tilted. But what hurt the most wasn't just betrayal. It was this. He had forced her into this marriage, used her parents, used religion, used persistence, all while knowing the truth about himself. And suddenly, the luxury didn't feel grand anymore. It felt like a cage. And the suite wasn't just a room. It was the crack in the fairy tale.